My name is Eric Smith. This is an excerpt from my pet project, Stories from Q-Ville. J.J. McCole had a mediocre career as a B-movie actor in Los Angeles before his agent mentioned a place he had gone on vacation. His son had taken him on a yachting excursion on the coast of Europe. He mentioned a place called Q-Ville. It sounded like a place from a dream or a fantasy novel. J.J. asked his agent, whose name was Frank Morris, if he could take J.J. there, and Frank said that he could. J.J. sold his house and bought his own yacht. He loaded up his car, his possessions, and his butler, Jordan Weiss, and Frank met him at the docks. 6 months later, the SS Coulter dropped anchor off the coast of a strange country with floating islands. Q-Ville, exactly as Frank had described it. A tugboat appeared alongside the yacht. Someone announced from a loudspeaker on the tugboat that this was no longer international waters and that the vessel needed to identify itself. "Is that Colonel Western?" Frank shouted from the bow. "Yes, who are you?" the voice replied. "It's me, Frank Morris," Frank announced. Frank was a plump man of only 5'1" and was balding underneath his toupee. "I was here last year." After a moment, the voice shouted back that they were clear to disembark. They would give us a lift to the mainland. "Welcome back to Q-Ville, Mr. Morris," a tall, dark man with a deep Kenyan accent greeted as he shook Frank's hand. "Thank you," Frank replied. "J.J., this is Colonel Western. I met him in a similar fashion last time I was here." J.J. shook the colonel's hand and said, "I am J.J. McCole from Los Angeles." "We have the internet and cable here, Mr. McCole," Colonel Western said with a serious tone. "I've seen bad guys twice rocked. I think your portrayal of a bank robber who throws rocks was quite underrated." Eventually, J.J. got a job as a late-night talk show host. Late Night Tonight with J.J. McCole became the #1 talk show in the country. QTV President Van Winkle offered J.J. a second job hosting a televised talent show. J.J. moved into a luxurious apartment in Golden Tower Apartments and hasn't been back to L.A. since. Frank lives in a neighboring apartment building and is one of the most successful agents in Q-Ville.